welcome to Strictly Businews. I am Alfonso Santaniello. Hunter Golden, welcome back.
Hi.
I do have something. I wish I could get you to autograph your cover of Business West,
Oh.
Mr. Celebrity over here.
Oh, it's.
I thought it was going to be a round two sign.
I'm excited, but I feel uncomfortable too. I'm excited, but I get uncomfortable too.
Very special.
It is.
Wow.
We were talking for a half hour. You had no idea I was going to be doing that, did you?
I got worried when you put it down over there. I was like, oh.
Are there more photos on page 6?
Yeah, well, that's the story. The whole story. There's myself, our new owner, Clark Eckhoff, is in there.
Wow, there he is.
Do a little thing. It's our park right there. It's Mackenzie Stadium.
So pick up the latest issue of Business West and check out the story.
Blue Sox.
7, 6, page
Yeah.
6. All right, so this is Cori, everyone.
Yeah, and I haven't made any print material recently.
Just her arrest record, that's all.
No.
I'm sorry, no one's supposed to know that. Next up, we're going to go to the first topic, actually. 100 high school students went to MassMutual for Job Shadow Day. MassMutual's Junior Achievement Job Shadow Day was about helping develop a strong, qualified workforce from high school and onward this past week. Help students learn about the careers available at the company. I think it's a really good, it's one of those things, and it's one of those topics now people are like, how are we going to keep talent in Western Mass? And if it's starting at the high school level, that would actually keep kids maybe even going to school and the colleges here, then staying. So I think this is a great idea, and I know people that are involved with Junior Achievement. So I don't know how long this has been going on. Do you guys know?
I don't recall when I was at MassMutual that they were. I know they had involvement in Junior Achievement, but I don't think it was to this extent.
Okay.
Sure. I think it's great. I mean, I think, first of all, I think Junior Achievement does some of the most important work in the entire Pioneer Valley.
The first Junior Achievement was from Springfield, too, just in case.
Yeah. And I think, the major piece of it is retaining that talent. We have, there's the old Bill James from baseball saying, that you have piles of unutilized talent all around us. And I think, for Junior Achievement to be able to tap into that, and bring that kind of awareness to the jobs that are here in the region, that's what we need to do. I think, we spend a lot of time, facing this way instead of looking inward in this community.
Yeah.
And I think this is certainly a way to do that and to maximize the potential that we already have here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a grassroots organization that kids can go off and go to college, but then they want to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, so good job, Junior Achievement and MassMutual. Okay. So next up, MGM wants to partner, or is eyeing to partner, Peter Becknelly and Opal Real Estate to operate a boutique hotel at Court Square, which is right across the street from here. If you don't know where this building is, it's basically right across from the MassMutual Center, right near the church, run down, empty. I think that's better than adding more office spaces that no one's going to be leasing out. I think
More office spaces with no security? Oh, whoops.
this building has security. My previous location.
Location, not so much.
No. Anyway, really quick. So it's a 250-room hotel proposed by MGM. They want to turn it to an 80-room boutique hotel. The deal's preliminary, so it's not even finalized right now.
I do worry sometimes with this development because it almost feels like Court Square is to private development in the city what Union Station was to public development. Yeah. And there's always a new plan every year as to how it's going to get done quickly, and it only gets executed at like 10 to 15% speed before momentum runs out, and it doesn't feel like there's anything going on.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous opportunity to do something in that space. It's historic, that building, and I think, especially off the square there, I think it'd be an interesting addition. My worry up front, without knowing all the gory details, is are we getting a little over redundant with the hotels at this point, spawning off the casino development? I feel like the casino.
There's one right next to one up to where the Wendy's used to be. There's a gas station, a hotel being built there. I agree with you. I feel like there's.
We have the Sheraton, we have the Marriott, we have the Hilton Residence Inn. whatever's on the
Next to-
riverfront.
Home Garden.
Yeah,
Hilton Garden.
Yeah.
The Hilton Garden Inn. You know, we have another one going up next to the Golden Nozzle. La Quinta just came in and totally refurbished their space.
Yeah.
You have to think MGM's going to have a facility in there of some sort, and somebody else will come. I mean, you know,
Like, I know there are a lot of organizations and people making it, trying to make Western Mass and Springfield a destination place. But I don't, outside of the Big E and the overflow coming into Springfield, I don't see any other time of year where it's actually packed. Maybe the enshrinement, if
yeah,
that.
I mean, but even in that, I mean, to me, I look at it, and you know, and one of my primary concerns with the casino development in general was, you know, there is so much market saturation, it seems, already with casinos. You know, Foxwoods, you know, has had financial issues. Mohegan Sun has had financial issues. Not Turning Stone, Three Rivers Casino in Rhode Island has had about 4 or 5 restarts. You know, Atlantic City's gone nowhere. And granted, discretionary spending's down, and casinos thrive off of that. The bad economy has not helped at all. But what you would think is, especially with the the Superstorm Sandy hurting business in Atlantic City, that you'd be getting more traffic coming up north. That hasn't happened.
No.
And my concern is, if we're looking seriously at other venues on the eastern side of the state, we have Turning Stone in western New York. We have a casino in Rhode Island. We have 2 in Connecticut. And people, I don't know if anybody knows, but New York State, I believe, just passed legislation for 5 that are going to be going into New York State.
Yeah.
And they're basically going to be building a gigantic golden wall up and down the Connecticut border. They're looking at Poughkeepsie. They're looking at outside of Albany. They're doing the same thing that we're kind of doing.
Yeah.
Where are the gamblers coming from? And you would have to think that the market
They
has
developed
to be
that.
here. You'd have to think that it has to be, you know, regardless of what your opinion is on gambling, logic would say that it has to come from here. Why would you travel from there to here if it's already in your backyard? That's the purpose of convenience gaming, is that it's convenience.
Yeah.
So I worry that this idea that this will be a destination piece or a significant, I think it will help locally. I think there's going to be some residual runoff there, but I feel like the idea that this can be a destination, I feel like it's far-fetched.
For me, I see that building doing well because a lot of people talk about it, and one of those people talk about it, you don't really. I know things are getting done, but you don't see things getting done. Housing downtown.
Yeah.
That could be a place where they're talking about why don't YPs live downtown? Why don't that? I feel like because it's in a square, because that there's an opportunity to build the parking lot behind it more a little secure than what's there now. I think that actually could turn into a nice little condo type building that people can actually live, buy, or rent out, and have decent, you know, because for me, I feel like living downtown and having that kind of like grass area in front of you, I think that's a major plus.
Yeah, I think there's some benefit. To me, you know the thing I want to see downtown the most?
The casino? No, I'm just kidding.
You know, and I'm a baseball guy, so yeah, sure, let's build a baseball stadium. But no, in all honesty, a grocery store.
There's,
you know, we can keep talking about, I mean, now I know what we're doing further up the road up State Street, but the real issue to me is we keep talking about residential housing. We keep talking about casinos and other forms of entertainment. Retail can't thrive without customers. Customers usually come from your residents. And residents usually decide to live in places because of the convenience of it. The whole point of affordable housing downtown for young professionals and or empty nesters. Part of the reason the pitch is ditch your lawn, ditch your big house, come into something that's more efficient, that's more convenient. But drive 15 minutes to the grocery store across the bridge.
When I brought up the shooting incident this weekend. They went to Allen and Cooley Big Y and they were interviewing people. Those people don't live here. They live in, they're way out. The mileage between here and there is not that great, but it's still a distance away.
And that's the other thing with this city. I don't think people understand the drastic differences from neighborhood to neighborhood. I don't think we've acknowledged that anymore.
Yeah.
And I think it's less and less colloquial than it used to be before. And I think, in order, you have to have life essential services if you expect people to live there. If I have to drive 15 minutes, 10 minutes to the grocery store, you know, I don't want to live there. That's defeating the convenience purpose, you know. And that's what I think needs to be downtown. You know, they've got a lot of open space and office development up there. Let's bring the post office downtown.
A little more
you know,
closer,
we've got we've got things like the federal building. Let's move the post office in there. You know, complement it with a grocery store. Now there's a reason to live downtown. Now I can send and receive mail. Now I can go get my food. Now I can go out and go to restaurants. Now I can go out. Yeah, now you can build your convenience stores and your retail and your clothes shopping and your nightlife. You know, now those things can work, and you can live close to wherever you're employed. And now you have a thing. But until then, I just feel like we're playing whack-a-mole. It's like, well, there's this thing that we need, and here's this thing that we need, and let's just go build this. And there just doesn't seem to be, and you know, I know city officials are more privy to things than we're not, and I know it's easier said than done going to go convince Big Y or Stop and Shop to come downtown and open up a store. I know that's not an easy sell, and it's expensive to develop.
It's a risk.
A grocery store in a downtown area. But that, to me, there just doesn't seem to be any cohesion. It's just, let's hit this, and let's hit this, and let's hit this. And, you know, I feel like there just needs to be something more comprehensive. The casino,
Yeah, maybe something a little less glamorous, too.
Yeah. Right.
Like an Aldi?
That would work.
Or Taco Bell. Which brings us to our
nice
next
segue.
topic. Yeah.
Terrible.
I know, I don't. I mean, I don't eat Taco Bell unless I've had a few. Anyway, so their ex Taco Bell interns.
I wasn't sure what he was insinuating.
No, nothing. Ex Taco Bell interns claim they invented Doritos taco and had pictures to prove it. So during a summer internship in 1995, Andrea Watt and 3 other college students pitched the idea of Dorito Shell Taco to Taco Bell executive as part of an intern competition. They lost that competition, but their idea actually turned into a profit of more than $1 billion for Taco Bell. There are photos in this article of this Doritos tacos for 79 cents, which I think would have been a better deal than what they have now. But again, 1995, you know, whatever. So obviously they're denying it, but I think this is kind of funny to see not just Taco Bell, but what are large companies doing with their interns and what are their interns producing for them and who's taking credit for what kind of thing.
Well, internship is the new labor now. You know, they had that, what was that? Was it Saturday Night Live that did it? Somebody did a great skit where they were talking about AARP and they had a bunch of baby boomers on there. And they're like, you enjoy your unpaid internship. And that's
cheaper
happening.
than a temp, right?
It is. It's what's happening everywhere now.
But you got to look at a lot of colleges are requiring it for college credit.
Sure.
So for example, we work with a couple schools where I get on average 2 interns to come and work here.
Sure.
But it's now by law, at least in the state of Massachusetts, if they're not doing it for college credit, you have to pay them.
Yeah.
So now I only accept college credit. So I mean, there's ways, but again, I had an intern, I just hired him. So it's not
How do
like
they even enforce that though?
the college credit.
Internship piece.
What,
The
like
school?
an NDA?
For example, I have to not write, but I have to fill out a form. I have to check their attendance. I basically give them the grade from my standpoint.
Yeah.
And it counts as a certain percentage towards their grade. So I mean, there's a lot that it's not like they just sign off and I sign that they were here. Like they do me a favor in providing good interns for me, and I make sure, at least for the school's sake, I am honest and.
I got internship credit, but it was actually working. I convinced school that I was doing an internship, but
At the tavern.
no, at MassMutual, and I just journaled about it. And it had nothing really, no specific objections or anything like that, like, just got credit for it. So I think it's a win-win when it comes down to it for the intern, but when it comes to things like this, it's like, what did they sign an NDA when they first start working for a company? But then at the same time, if they invent something, don't you think they should get credit for it?
Well, there is a letter, a photo of the letter that Taco Bell sent in reply to their idea of their taco, Doritos taco. Really quick snippet. It says, first, thanks for taking the time to write to me, letting me know that I may be able to get in touch with you. I appreciate your notes and drawing review deck. All right. The idea looked great. My only input to your team of the brand name is Doritos. I think that Frito-Lay would appreciate it if you called the product by the brand name. So how about Doritos Tacos? What are they
It's
called
like the
now?
same thing.
Yeah, what is it called now?
I don't know.
I don't need enough to talk about. Well, I don't pay attention to what anything's called. I just eat it.
Wait,
Is that
first
bad?
off, I mean,
Is that too American of me?
Taco Bell is known for the
I didn't read it. I'm like, that
fourth
looks
meal.
delicious. Let's snack on it. Look at me. I am the Bell from Taco Bell. I just go,
Have
No.
you tried their breakfast?
The-
Speaking of, have you seen their marketing campaign
Yeah.
for their breakfast?
Genius.
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 So yes, Taco Bell, we don't like you for this article. However,
Kudos for the breakfast.
Yeah.
Just try to imagine these guys in 1995.
But I don't-
Sitting in a silver chair. Be like, bro, Doritos and tacos. Nobody thought of that.
The only thing
I make a mean Dorito taco salad.
not just with Taco Bell, I wish fast food would realize that it doesn't matter where you go. When you walk in carrying fast food bag, it's not a party. I feel like every commercial has like there's a party and it makes it a party when you go through the drive-thru. No, it doesn't.
I know, no one. I've never had a party and said, "What are you gonna bring?"
There's no party. It's just an avalanche of self-pity. You're like,
Yeah, and
I hate
and
myself
it's
for
not
eating this.
it's not
Oh,
it's not thin
oh,
models.
I surround myself with my friends and I'm eating it. I won't
It's
feel
not
so
thin
bad.
models.
You're like,
It's
oh, I'm eating Bambi, and they're telling me it's a hamburger. Oh, what am I doing?
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, before I go on,
Anyone
I'm
ever
more on
showed
a
up
rampage.
to
Oh, this
Party.
hamburger smells like parental disappointment.
All right, so next up. So opening day for baseball, kind of going into more of what the payroll looks like for the companies. Well, they are companies, but
They are
the baseball
companies.
teams.
They are.
Payroll. So really quick, I figured we'd just go to top 5. LA Dodgers is number 1. Their payroll is $235,295,000 some odd change. Number 2 is the Yankees with $203,800,000, blah 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 blah. Number 3 is a big dip low from where number 1 and 2 is only 180,052,000. And Red Sox are number 4 at 162,817,000. I mean, it's
Number 3 is the Phillies, right, in Philadelphia.
yeah. Number 3 is the Phillies. Sorry, and number 2 Yankees and 1 Dodgers. I mean, they're making. Not that they're making bank. The payrolls are really high. I mean, it's just the amount of money athletes get, not just baseball in general.
Sure.
At the same time, I know it's been in topic and I see it all the time, is how much do they actually really deserve out of, like, you know, because now ticket prices are going up, everything's going, so it's like...
Yeah, we hear that all the time. I mean, I hear that all the time is, why do baseball players and professional athletes get paid so much? How come lawyers, doctors, teachers don't get paid more? And well, the answer is simple. More people can be lawyers, doctors, and teachers than can be baseball players. And, you know, we have an interesting culture where we put a value on what we feel we give back to society. It's just what the free market dictates. What I think a lot of people don't understand is not only is it impossibly hard to become a professional athlete nowadays, they're also scrutinized.
Drug-free.
Yes.
They are also
Clean.
scrutinized to a point that literally we can look at everything that a player does on the diamond and figure out what that's worth. Part of what somebody gets paid is our ability to determine a value of what their skill is worth or what their skills are worth.
But what they also bring to the team, which is people, which is sponsors, ads, which is endorsements.
And then
I mean, it's
value on the field, value off of the field, but sports can very precisely determine, based off of market scarcity and all the metrics that they have, not just for their on-field performance, but off-field, to the penny, what they feel they're worth and what they bring in. You can't do that with a lawyer or teacher.
no.
You know, and I know a lot of people hate hearing this, but, you know, teachers' unions regularly run away from valuation and accountability for teachers. It's just a thing. Whether you think it's right or not is irrelevant.
I think it's
It's
like that for multiple areas of
it's any
different
profession. I mean, I think that the teachers are an interesting one because it's so cute. But I mean, if you ask doctors, if you ask lawyers, if you ask teachers, hey, how do you do what you do? Yeah, you don't get it. You don't understand what it's like to be me, you know. And You know, if you opened up your office and let everybody watch you do your job every single night,
They have a right.
and if they could,
Like
and
what
if
we're
they
doing.
measured you and you let them talk about you however they wanted to
Right.
talk about you, and track everything you did from every ball you picked up to every ball you threw to where you shuffled to the right to where you shuffled to the left to how you came out of the dugout to what you got in your
Oh,
mouth and you're
scrutiny.
spitting on the ground. And if you did that, and not a lot of people could do what you do, you would get paid millions of dollars. But if you want to get paid millions of dollars, you have to take the risk to put yourself out there to say, here's acutely what I'm worth. And people hate being told they're worthless.
Yeah.
But for
It's what it
$16
comes
million,
down to.
I'd let anybody watch me anytime.
Yeah.
Just saying.
We're keeping this PG, Corey, just to let you know. This
No,
is not
I'm just
turning
saying.
into.
Highest player on the Red Sox.
Jay
Paid
Peavy.
Over $16 million.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, for example, the Red Sox, actually, you see in some years that payroll dipped. From 2012, it was 173, 2013, it went down to 150, but it started going back up in 2014.
I think another thing too in baseball that's starting to be interesting is payrolls for big market teams are going up. Payrolls for smaller market teams are going down, and everybody goes, well, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. But if you look at the playoff teams over the course of the last couple of
Right.
years,
That
now
makes
with new
sense.
data, objective metrics, I mean, they just made a whole movie about the Oakland A's and Moneyball. You know, sometimes smaller is better. I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays, and each business, I think that people don't understand is we always just judge a player for what we think he is and what he's worth. You know, he hit 20 home runs, so that should be worth this. You know, it's not what he's worth there, it's what he's worth to that team, what that particular skill, how it fits with that roster.
Yeah.
Each organization is different. Yes, the Rays can't compete with the Yankees and give players as much, but what they can do is develop their own cheap talent internally, ensure a never-ending pipeline so that their roster's continuously stacked.
Yeah.
But what they can also do is imagine in Boston, if you were in the heat of a pennant race, if the Red Sox traded their franchise pitcher, not just a good pitcher, the best pitcher they've ever had, 2 days before the trade deadline. If you did that in Boston, you would get crucified. They did that in Tampa, and nobody paid attention because they don't care as much. So they could do some things that are downright masochistic in Tampa Bay from a business standpoint, and they can get away with it, and that's actually an advantage. They were able to take that pitcher that was aging, that they knew they were starting to see some cracks. They sold him. They basically sold high on that stock, and they got 5 top prospects back for him. Cheap labor that they developed, and 3 of them ended up on their major league level for $1.5 million. He was making $9 million at that time. He went to the Los Angeles Angels, and 2 months later, the whole bottom dropped out on him, and he was out of baseball in 2 years. Now he's been a cool comeback story. Now he started, Scott Kazmir started to come back. But just an example of how, you know, we misvalue things. Even baseball, where you have all these precise measures, it still happens.
And when they say payroll, I mean, it's not
It's not just athletes, it's also like
right.
presidents.
No, it's that's just
It's
the
just
team.
the players.
Oh, it's just the players?
Yeah, that's their 40-man active roster.
So, but then again, when you think about it, it's 40. I mean, I don't know what they only noted the highest paid player. I'd like to know what the least.
Yeah,
Like
well,
the
the Red
interns.
Sox,
Yeah.
the Red Sox major league minimum is $440,000. So how it works is
That's still 440,000 more than what I'm making.
yeah, so that's their major league minimum. The highest guy they've got on the team right there is Jay Peavy. I think the highest paid player in baseball right now is Albert Pujols. He's making
Hunter, thank you so much for coming
no
on.
problem. Thanks for having me.
I took some time and spoke to 2 past Businews guests, Julianne and Lesley, on social media and real estate and what you need to know about it. And we talked a little bit about PodCamp too, so check it out.
Check it out.
Podcamp. That was like ages ago, wasn't it?
It's a yearly thing.
An annual thing.
Annually.
I got sunburnt only on my face at Fenway the other day, so I just look like I'm like,
I thought you got sunburned.
yeah, I look so intense all the time. I spoke at the Holyoke Rotary today, and I walked in, I'm like, guys, I'm not pissed, I'm not drunk. I'm like, I'm not nervous.
I just
I'm
need some
just
aloe.
sunburnt. Somebody put some cream on my face.
Just on my forehead.
Just right here.
Yeah, so hey, welcome. I am here with Lesley Lambert and Julianne Krutka of Park Square Realty. Ladies, thank you. It's been quite a while. You've been on Strictly Business. You've been a part of the Business channel. You guys are very familiar faces here. Why are you so giggly?
Glad to be back. I can't help but have all three of us in the same place and not think about how we met to meet him. But the bottom line is that this relationship now is going on 5 years, and it all started with a tweet. Something that you said
And
that
we've
caught
all
my
worked
eye.
together in some capacity
Yeah.
or another at this point, which is really very cool.
Absolutely.
So, which brings up the conversation of why I asked you guys on the show and of social media, more specifically in your industry, real estate. When I think of social media and real estate, automatically YouTube come to mind. I don't see a lot of other realtors really getting into at least doing it right and doing it the frequency they should be doing it, not here and there.
Consistency is the key.
So first, let's talk about each of you individually, your experience in real estate, how long you've been doing it, and things like that.
Oh, you got me first on that one.
Oh. I'll be celebrating my 25th anniversary this summer in the real estate industry. I've worked in pretty much every capacity you can work in, as a trainer, as a manager, speaker, teacher, and now, obviously, as an agent at Park Square Realty. And I started using I've been using social media for as long as it existed, because I'm just sort of a self-prescribed geek girl. Back, going way back to like the Prodigy days and like way old school stuff. But around 7 years ago, I think, 7 or 8 years ago, I started to see that there was probably some applications for using social media in this business, in business in general, but in real estate specifically. So that was the beginning of my journey.
Right. I became licensed in 2008 when the market was crashing and people were running around like chickens with the sky falling because they didn't know what they were going to do next.
I was one of them.
Yeah, well, there was millions of them out there. And actually I started my career with Coldwell Banker. But the reason I came to Park Square was because early on I saw the value of social media and internet marketing, and I would go to my manager at Coldwell Banker, and it was great to her. And I think it scared her a little bit and it intimidated her. And instead of, looking at what I wanted to do with Facebook and LinkedIn, she slapped down a book of scripts and she said, here, you need to call these people. You need to cold call these people, and these are the words that you're going to use. And I thought, this is scary and it doesn't really work. And it wasn't long after my first year, where I was so successful that first year with Coldwell Banker, that Ted and Barry reached out to me. And when I shared my ideas with them for how I wanted to use the internet to market myself, they were so supportive. And they saw so much value in it. And I thought that was the deciding factor for me to come to Park Square, because Coldwell Banker wanted me to do it the old-fashioned way, and I could tell it wasn't going to work. And we had these great free tools that they weren't interested in learning how to use.
So you're mentioning the old school and we'll call social media more of the new age of marketing. There's got to be pros and cons to both, right?
Of course,
So
there's still an application for old school handling. I sometimes will say that the way I work is old fashioned with modern day technology touches. And because, a lot of our business, you have to be old school. You got to pick up the phone and call them to talk about the deal or whatever. But the marketing piece of it, not the day-to-day what we do for our clients, the marketing ourselves part, I think has much more applications online now. And especially through social media, because you have an opportunity to network with a larger pool of people online than you might be able to do personally. You'd have to attend a lot of events to be able to network the way we can network online.
Well, and you have a better ability to extend the connections you already have. With Coldwell Banker, it was about pick up the phone and call the person you don't know and tell them they should hire you. Why? Does that work? I don't know. It never worked for me.
It might work for some people.
On Facebook, for example, I've connected with a client, I've sold them their house, we're talking about their kids and their holidays and their first Christmases, and there's a conversation that goes on, and next thing you know, their cousin jumps in and says, oh, you know what, I'm looking for a house. So there's the lead, there's the reason I can spend that time there, because I'm going to get the business out of it. Whereas I could call 50 expired listings in a week, and it's a crapshoot.
They don't know you.
They don't.
Through social media, you see a lot more referrals, person-to-person referrals.
Absolutely.
It's like warm stuff, you know? It's like, even if it's one person removed, if it's like maybe a past client of mine who talks to me on Facebook, sees a post that I wrote and shares it with their friends. For example, I have a short sale listing right now. This is actually a perfect story. I was at Pod Camp years ago, met a young girl who came up to me at the end of the Pod Camp and said, you know, I really liked what you had to say. I really like how you're using social media. I'm also thinking about buying my first house and I'd love for you to help me, which I did do, and she's there now, and she and I stay connected on social media. And last year, she reached out to me and said, I saw a post that you wrote about helping people who are in a short sale position. I sent it to these friends. They're going to be calling you. They need your help. And so, you know, that's to me a perfect round circle of how this works. I met her face to face. I couldn't have sold her a house over the internet.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
you get, you know, but it's a way for us to stay in touch. I don't see her often. We don't talk necessarily too often, although, you know, we stay in touch. But she's watching what I'm doing and found something and shared it to the next level.
So specifically to Western Mass, because a lot of people, when they're outside from Western Mass and they move to Western Mass and they look at social, and it's not like Boston or New York. It's very, you know, people are a year or two tech-wise behind in there. And it's just the condensed area. You got more people, more everything. Mm-hmm. So in your industry, how do you think social media plays a part, and what platforms really help your business, at least specifically to Western Mass? Whether it be sharing the listings, your blog posts, what platforms do you think actually help your industry more so or less than any other platforms around here?
I think I use all of them. I'm not using Twitter as often as I should be.
Tell me about it.
And I'm
Cricket.
I know, I've been bad. But like Tab and Trey was a perfect example of one that came to me from Twitter because of the hashtag Western MA. Mm-hmm. And they were relocating, they were military, and they picked up on the Western MA and the real estate.
And I think the hashtag's an important thing for us to pause on, just because I wonder if everyone knows that you can now use the hashtag across most of the platforms.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a great way for us all to find each other in Western Massachusetts. I use it to try to grow my sphere and meet new people here in the area. But, you know, of course on Twitter, I think everybody who uses Twitter gets, okay, that's what the hashtag does. Mm-hmm. But Facebook allows hashtags now. Google Plus uses the hashtag.
Yeah, and I think it's also just causes an awareness of, even if it's the hashtag, if no one uses it, like for example, Facebook, obviously no one uses it that much, or if they do, it's because Instagram overflow to Facebook kind of thing.
Right.
But at the same time, people, if it's a specific hashtag, if they go on other platforms and they remember that hashtag, they'll be able to search for that.
But that's probably been the one thing that's helped me the most, is using that hashtag initially on Twitter. And
well,
then
that's how we found
Instagram
each other.
and yeah,
Because if we weren't following that Western Mass hashtag, you didn't know who to talk to.
right.
I mean, I think Western Mass hashtag definitely blew up because of PodCamp.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
for sure.
Um,
The word got out way bigger that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So you know, there's a lot of new platforms coming out. You know, and I mean, they're not really new, but you see a lot more talk around, you know, like Vine and Instagram. And so in real estate, how do you see that changing the way you guys are marketing yourself, because of a lot more video and image-based content is more specific for content now?
I love Instagram. I don't really use Vine. I've looked at it, but it didn't do it for me for whatever reason. But I love Instagram, and I am trying to be more aware of photo opportunities when I'm out doing business. We see some funny stuff. For example, I shared on Instagram and then I put it on my Facebook page and got a ton of engagement. A picture, I showed a house in Westfield, and it's a normal enough little house, and you go upstairs and there's a big bedroom, and in the corner of the bedroom there's a toilet and a sink. No walls, just a toilet and a sink. And so I posted that and I was like, is this the master cell? Like what? I don't understand what's happening here. You know? So I'm trying to take advantage of things like that we see along the way and share those, or just really pretty houses, even if they're not on the market. Just I'm driving along and, oh, this house in Westfield's beautiful. I want to make people aware of, the lovely architecture that they have around them. Take a picture and Instagram it and hashtag it with the Western Mass hashtag, and trying to be more cognizant of those kind of opportunities. And sometimes if the picture is also going to turn into a blog post, I'll attach the link to the blog post in the comments too.
Right. I got into using Pinterest, not like some people use Pinterest. I can't stand being there all day pinning things.
How many arts and crafts projects have you done?
I don't have time for arts and crafts, but I have used it to create a board for a particular listing, and then use that pin back to Facebook and out to Twitter.
Oh, that's a great idea.
To try and
I did a
bring-
staging your home board a long time ago when Pinterest was still pretty newish, and that one gets looked at a lot. And it's just sort of like, if you're going to put your house on the market, use these pictures as a guide of what you want, what we're thinking your house should look like. These colors, this, declutter, pantry should look like this, but I like the listing idea. That's great.
It works. It was
Well,
amazing.
Pinterest is search friendly, so the content does come up. So having a board on that actually would.
Right, and then I create the board with the actual address, because sometimes people are searching the address and we don't always come up first.
Yeah.
And Pinterest was helping with that.
It was?
So, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Well, then you had to tag it with the URL for that listing.
Right.
And so it was a way of driving traffic back to my site. But it was kind of neat because when I posted it to Pinterest, and it was so simple to share it out to Facebook and flip it out to Twitter all at the same time.
Yeah, I've been sharing my
okay.
listings, but just one main picture on a Western Mass real estate board, and then the same thing. But I never thought to make a whole board just for each house. I love it. Stealing it.
You did something first.
This is why I know. And this is why Lesley and I are such good friends, because she's given me more than my share of advice over the years. So
Share
I'm
away.
happy to share.
So there is a lot of emerging platforms outside just Facebook and Twitter, so people realize social media is not just the conglomerate of those two. But where do you guys see internet marketing, mobile marketing, and real estate in the future? Where do you guys see it going?
I'm kind of on the fence about the mobile. I mean, I see everybody working in that direction, but I can't tell you how many times somebody calls me and says, I'm looking at your sign. Now, okay, well, there's a website on my sign, there's a QR code on my sign. They're not reacting to that. They're seeing that phone number and they're calling me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the mobile stuff's slower going here in
To
Western
adapt,
Mass for
yeah.
sure. I don't know if it'll ever come along or if there'll be a new platform that'll make it click or what. But yeah, for sure, people will still either write down the address or call the number.
Make the phone, yeah.
For me, I guess I focus on search engine optimization as much as possible, and I'm by no means an expert. I have a lot of learning to do in that department, but we're competing against some pretty big fish as far as the Zillows and Trulias and the conglomerates that are syndicating our listings and getting better Google juice than we are. And so I'm not sure I can ever win that fight, but that's the one I'm working on. I want to be able to find techniques, and I'm working on techniques to make sure that my clients' listings, when they're being found, are being found in the way that they can get brought back to me, because I'm the one that can best serve that property.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest challenge, is to make sure that the leads for those listings are coming back to us, because like she said, there's so many other big fish out there that we're competing with.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the social media is about staying in touch with my sphere, because that's the most time-consuming part of the job. I don't want to have to chase strangers for business. I want it to come from the people who already know me, love me, trust me.
None of the above for me.
Yeah. And so that is my primary use of the social medias. So something like Vine, for example.
Can't really show a house in 6 seconds.
Well, not only that,
Well, you can. They'll be really
but
fast.
not only that, who wants to see it? Most of the people that are on Vine, they're looking for humor, right? They're looking for something funny, something
Different,
interesting,
creative.
right? So I don't know if the people that I'm wanting to reach out to are even on Vine. So
Exactly.
is that someplace that I want to spend a lot of time and energy on? I don't know. I've seen it though. It's funny. It's
It is
hysterical.
funny. I wish I was a little more creative with the humor stuff because I see other agents around the country, you know, I look at what they're doing and they'll come up with these skits and these videos and I'm willing, I mean, I'll make a jerk of myself. Google my name and you'll see. I'm willing to make a jerk of myself on the internet, but I don't think of these clever concepts that they come up with, and some of them are 15-second Instagram videos that are like funny as heck and witty, and I'm like, I
One of the greatest things I ever saw, it was much longer than 6 seconds. Remember Jessica Rifle Edwards? She's an agent down in the Carolinas, and she got a bunch of friends together, and they did a video skit to Call Me Maybe. And they got their sign riders all in fluorescent colors, and there was a bunch of sexy women,
riding on scooters and golfing and you name it.
But it was the best thing I've ever seen, and it was all branded to her Coldwell Banker.
I think they ended up getting dinged because of the song, though.
I think she had to pull it.
The idea was very cute.
Coldwell Banker probably shut them down, but it was amazing, and it was eye catching, and it was
maybe Al will come up with a really fun idea for us one day.
I just did. I'll talk about it. My mind's already rolling. Come on.
I'm scared, Leslie. I'm scared.
I would do it. I would do it.
We'll include all Park Square and see what they end up doing. So if anyone's watching, and I mean we can go on for hours with this conversation, but if anyone's watching and want to get a hold of either one of you or both, what information do you want to give them?
You want cell phone numbers and you do it?
Twitter handles. Well, you're not on Twitter, so I mean.
I am on Twitter. I'm just.
Websites, whatever you guys want to.
Well, my website's easy enough. 413house.com. 413house.com. You can search for real estate. You can search for open houses. You can find my contact information. You can set up your own search parameters if you want daily alert emails. Everything that is for sale in Western Mass can be found on 413house.com. And the beauty of it is it's not laden with advertising like some of the other bigger websites. It's just my site. It's just real estate. There's not a bunch of garbage in there, and you'll find what you need.
If you want to look up my website, it's westernmahomes.net. And like Julianne, you can search for real estate pretty much anywhere, actually, but I can only sell it to you in Massachusetts. She's Connecticut. And you can get all my contact information, my social media, and that's also where my blog is housed. And on my blog, I do a lot of sharing about events in Western Massachusetts, funny things that happen to me along the way in my real estate career, market reports, you name it. So, westernmahomes.net.
Great, and ladies, thank you so much. And this will be up in time, so we've been talking about PodCamp. So if you want to go to PodCamp and get your tickets, podcamp.westernma.biz. Get your tickets. The event's April 19th at Holyoke Community College.
We'll be happy to meet you in person.
Yeah.
Julianne will be running through doors for you.
I sang happy birthday one year to somebody. Who was that? Patrick.
Pat Bruff?
From the paper.
Oh.
Johnson.
Yes.
Patrick Johnson.
I remember that.
It was his birthday that year, and at lunchtime I made everybody stop what they were doing so we could sing happy birthday to Patrick.
Well, if it's your birthday, come find me and I'll make her sing to you.
No, you don't want that.
Hope to see you there.
See you guys later.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh, that was funny.
All right, what's your crazy idea, Al?
Well, it's not really...